Welcome to ChapterCast, where you can grab your favorite snacks, catch up on laundry, or just kick back and listen while we tackle one of the most misunderstood but essential concepts in behavior analysis. In this episode, we're diving into Chapter 17, Using Punishment, Timeout and Response Cost, from Miltenberger's Behavior. Modification, Principles and Procedures. We'll break down what punishment really means in ABA. Hint, it's not what you think. Explore timeout from positive reinforcement, response cost procedures, and the critical ethical considerations that guide their use. Through relatable real-world examples, from classrooms to therapy sessions, you'll see how these strategies are applied effectively and compassionately. So please sit back, relax, and let's make sense of punishment the right way, clear, evidence-based, and easy to follow. Let's get started. Many people believe timeout response cost are just old-fashioned punishments. They imagine a child crying alone in a corner, a teenager losing all their privileges. This myth paints these methods as cruel shaming, harmful. It suggests the only goal is to make someone feel bad. This misunderstanding often leads parents and teachers to avoid these strategies. They fear damaging a child's self-esteem, damaging their relationship. While well-intentioned, this perspective misses the true purpose and potential when used correctly and with compassion. The truth is timeout, response cost, can be kind and powerful teaching tools. When used correctly, they are not about shame or anger. They are about clarity, learning. They calmly interrupt problem behavior, create a moment to learn a better way. So, what exactly is timeout? The formal definition is timeout from positive reinforcement. This means removing a person, for a brief period, from an environment where they have access to things they enjoy. These things could be attention from others, fun activities, toys, games. The person temporarily loses the opportunity to get rewarded. Because this removal makes the problem behavior less likely, timeout is considered a type of punishment. It's not about isolating someone out of anger, but about pausing rewards that might be fueling the behavior. There are a few types of timeout. Exclusionary timeout is moving the person out of the room. Non-exclusionary timeout is when the person stays but loses access. Contingent observation is when the observation is moved to the edge to watch appropriate behavior. The opposite of contingent observation is called time-in, which is an environment with plentiful positive reinforcement. Time-in is full of praise, attention, and fun activities. A rich time-in makes timeout effective. Use timeout carefully. Explain the rules in advance when everyone is calm. Make sure the child knows which behaviors will lead to timeout. Apply timeout immediately. Keep it short. Choose a safe, boring spot. Stay calm. Simple return once calm. Using timeout by itself is like trying to build something with only half the tools. To truly be effective, timeout must be paired with positive reinforcement. Timeout works because it removes access to the good things in the time-in environment. If that time-in isn't rewarding, timeout has little effect. So first, build a rich, reinforcing time-in. Actively look for and reward good behavior throughout the day. This pairing is a core principle of differential reinforcement. Differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, also known as DRA, and differential reinforcement of other behavior, known as DRO, are methods used in behavior modification. With DRA, reinforce a specific positive alternative to the problem behavior. With DRO, reinforce whenever the problem behavior does not occur for a set period. Let's discuss a real-life example with an in-home experience. Imagine 5-year-old Liam who hits his sister to get a toy. The parents implement timeout and enrich time-in with lots of praise when he plays nicely. They might say, "Liam, I love how you are sharing the blocks with your sister." When Liam hits, "No hitting, go sit in timeout." After the timeout, when Liam is calm, he returns to play again with his sister. Later, when he asks his sister to play with the toys properly, the parents reinforce Liam's behavior by saying, "That was amazing asking, Liam. You can have a turn in 2 minutes." Let's break down another example, this time with an in-school scenario. A teacher named Ms. Davis has a student who frequently calls out in her class. She uses a non-exclusionary timeout and heavily reinforces hand-raising. Remember, our rule is to raise your hand and wait to get called upon. After time, the is up for the student in timeout. Ms. Davis notices this student began to raise their hand, so she calls upon them. "Thank you for raising your hand. What is your answer?" This approach helps students discriminate between inappropriate behavior and appropriate behavior by showing that calling out leads to a timeout, while raising a hand before calling out in class results in reinforcement. Now, let's shift our focus to another useful tool, a response cost. Just like timeout, response cost is a form of negative punishment. It involves taking something away to decrease a behavior. A specific amount of a reinforcer, such as a preferred item or activity, is removed immediately after a problem behavior occurs. The person loses something they've already earned, are currently playing with, or value the most, like watching YouTube or playing their favorite game before bed. Think of it like a fine or penalty. It's the loss of a preferred item or a privilege. It's a direct response to an undesirable action, making the connection clear and concrete. Reinforcers lost can vary. Often used in a token economy system, when individuals earn tokens, points, or maybe some stickers to exchange for bigger rewards after they earn so many, such as extra time on their tablet, a special activity, a favorite snack, or any highly preferred item. Response cost removes some hard-earned tokens for specific misbehavior. Here's an example. An individual earns 5 points for completing an assignment, but loses 1 point for talking out of turn. Common with older kids and teens. An example for these ages would be if they break curfew, resulting in their car keys being taken away for the weekend. If they receive a bad grade on their progress report for not completing or turning in their homework assignments throughout the quarter, they lose their cell phone privileges every night until their homework is submitted the next day. The removed privilege must be valued and accessible. The loss of it should be logical and communicated in advance. It is planned, fair, and emotionless, and they are aware of what they risk losing if inappropriate behavior occurs. Don't remove all reinforcers at once. Better to lose 1 of 10 than all 10. System should be easy, consistent, and focused on a small number of target behaviors. Just as with timeout, response cost is most powerful and ethical when it is not used in isolation. It should be part of a balanced system that also focuses on building and rewarding positive behaviors. This approach does not just tell a person what to stop doing, it actively teaches what to do instead. An embedded response cost within a token economy will heavily emphasize reinforcement. Set it up so it is much easier to earn tokens than to lose them. You want a high rate of success. A teacher might offer points for 5 positive behaviors, such as staying on task, raising a hand, and helping a peer, but only lose points for 1 or 2 negative behaviors, like talking back, or being negative towards a peer. At home, a 10-year-old earns privilege points for chores and homework, which are tradable for weekend game time with an extended time frame than usual. Response cost: lose 1 point for leaving dirty clothes on the floor. Overall, they can earn up to 20 points and lose only a few, making it achievable and fair for effectiveness. In class, groups can earn 3 points for cleaning and lining up within 2 minutes of a timer going off. The teacher can praise those who earned the points for their success. If a student is still running after the timer, the group loses 1 point. Group 3, you were not ready in time, so you lose 1 point for this transition. Let's try to earn it back next time. This helps students self-regulate quickly. Time out, response cost, and extinction are 3 distinct procedures for reducing problem behavior, and it is helpful to understand how they differ. Each one works in a slightly different way, making them suitable for different situations. Timeout removes from the reinforcing environment. Response cost removes a specific reinforcer. Extinction withholds the maintaining reinforcer. Imagine Sarah screams to get attention. Implement a timeout to remove her from the playroom briefly. She loses time playing with friends, toys, and the fun environment. For response cost, if tokens are used, remove a token and say, "You lose a token for screaming." She stays in the playroom, but loses something she has already earned and will need to regain by exhibiting appropriate behavior there. Extinction would be to completely ignore Sarah's screaming, by not looking at her, not saying anything to her or about the screaming, and giving no reactions towards her behaviors, so her screaming is no longer produces desired attention in any way. Remember, negative attention is still attention. Then, over time, Sarah's screaming begins to decrease. Extinction is not a removal and not a loss of earned tokens. The reward just isn't delivered. A choice depends on function and context. An attention-maintained behavior may fit best for extinction or timeout. A tangible maintained behavior may fit best for timeout, away from preferred items. A response cost integrates well and is most effective when a token economy system is involved. Extinction requires consistency and may trigger an extinction burst before improvement. Timeout from tangibles helps when having access maintains the behavior. Response cost is clear and seamless in token economy systems and earning preferred items. You should always match the procedure to the problem and its cause. Could you identify the function of the behavior? When using timeout and response cost, safety and ethical procedures are not optional. They are the foundation and mandatory, just like any approach taken when implementing new behavior systems. The primary goal is always to teach these behavior skills, not to harm, not to scare, not to humiliate. Explain the rules ahead of time. Make sure the person understands which behaviors lead to a timeout or the loss of a privilege. This promotes fairness and predictability, and removes any sense of personal attack. The consequence is for the behavior, not the person. For timeout, keep it brief, practical, age-appropriate, and within an ethical time duration. The location of the timeout must be safe, well-lit, and not in a dark area so that you can see them at all times. It should never be in a locked room. Never use force, anger, or frightening tactics. For response cost, keep the preferred item removed at a set time that is both ethical and practical, so they do not lose hope, and effectiveness is preserved. Never remove necessities, such as access to food and water, the ability to go to the bathroom if needed, or the ability to sleep. There should be absolutely no removal of any necessary care. Losses should be earned privileges or tokens, not essentials. Once the time is up, they can gain access to the preferred item. It should be immediately given to them or acknowledge that they have access to it again. Please don't bring it up or hold it against them. Use a calm, matter-of-fact approach. If distress or fear rises, stop or modify. Well-being is the top priority. A large body of scientific research built over several decades supports the use of timeout and response cost as effective methods for reducing problem behaviors. These are evidence-based practices. When timeout is brief, consistent, and paired with a positive time-in, it can decrease aggression, non-compliance, and disruption. Haphazard, angry, or overly long timeouts are not supported. Used ethically, timeout is less restrictive and less aversive than physical punishment or harsh reprimands. The best results come when timeout is one part of a plan that teaches replacement skills and reinforces appropriate behavior. Response cost is effective across classrooms, homes, and clinics, especially within token economies. It can rapidly decrease off-task behavior and rule breaking. Privileges and preferred items should not be large. Small, predictable costs work, especially with frequent opportunities to earn it back. Combining response cost with reinforcement outperforms using it alone. Make it easy to earn rewards and keep costs small and clear. Fair motivating systems lead to lasting behavior changes. In the end, timeout and response cost are not cruel punishments to be feared. They are practical tools used with kindness, consistency, and teaching. They work by making the world more predictable and creating clear boundaries about helpful versus unhelpful behaviors. Move away from the myth of punishment and embrace positive, structured teaching. Reduce problem behaviors while strengthening your relationship and building trust. The goal is always progress, not perfection. You do not need a complex system. Begin today with a few simple, actionable steps. First, you can choose one small problem behavior. Please don't try to fix everything at once. Second, define and say the rule. We use gentle hands. We raise our hand to speak. Ensure understanding. Third, choose a brief timeout or a small response cost and explain calmly. If you hit, time out. If you call out, you will lose a point. Most importantly, catch them being good and recognize their good behavior by complimenting it or bringing attention to it. When you implement consequences, do it calmly and briefly. Once it's over, it's over. Reconnect and praise the next good choice. Consistency, patience, and your calm presence drive lasting change. There you have it, ChapterCast. That wraps up Chapter 17 from the Behavior Modification, Principles and Procedures textbook. If this walkthrough helped, give the video a like so other students can find it too. You can always use the timestamps to review key sections or head to the playlist to continue with the next chapter. Subscribe to ChapterCast for more chapter-by-chapter study guides, and let me know in the comments which concept you'd like broken down next. Thanks for learning with ChapterCast, where textbooks turn into study-friendly lessons. See you in the next video, where we break down Chapter 18, Positive Punishment Procedures and the Ethics of Punishment.